4 days after my birthday, I get a text. Hi, I'm the costume designer for Bel Air. Can you send us your portfolio? At first, I was thinking somebody was messing with me. It just seemed impossible. I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. My intentions are to stay here and create a fashion label. Not having any formal business training and being a double minority on top of that, that's a lot of chips stacked against you. But my thought was, I'm gonna be a fashion designer, I'm gonna run a business, and that's exactly what happened. My name is Whitney Manney. I'm a fashion and textile designer, and I am a creator. Growing up in KC in the 90s, early 2000s, I had no fashion knowledge. My fashion knowledge was the layaway and JCPenney and department stores and hand-me-downs from my big cousins. I remember one Christmas, my parents got me the Barbie fashion designer game. I literally say Barbie and all of my dolls, they were my first client. 13, I was like, I want a sewing machine for my birthday. And I'm sure my parents thought it would end up in the attic collecting dust, but I would take apart my jeans and make skirts. And that was cool because it's like I was growing out of stuff so often, I had plenty of material to work with. And even then, it still wasn't, oh, I'm gonna be a fashion designer. It was just like, this is a fun, nice little hobby. At that point, my first 14 years of life, I'm living at home and I have a lot of family. To be torn away from that was a lot. You have to start over. Fashion truly became my safe space then because around my junior year, a fashion teacher joined the program and she was a professional. Like, she worked for the ballet company. She did costume work for like a lot of rock artists and was like, oh my gosh, this is possible, this is cool. She was really instrumental in being like, you can do it. Let's work on your portfolio. She would let me take the dress form home on the weekends. And I was like, okay, this is a time to figure out who Whitney Manney is as a person. I know who I am. I haven't introduced this person to a lot of people, even the people I'm closest to. Here's your chance, you know, to kind of break out, decide who you are, who you authentically are, who you genuinely are, and let's roll with it. Like, now's the time. I got to a point where I was just tired of questioning everything. I was so tired of being in these spaces where there was 1,000,001 reasons why I did not fit in that were beyond my control. When you constantly feel like you're in these spaces where you have to always prove yourself, that gets tiring. When I was trying to force myself to be normal, that was work, and that was exhausting. This doesn't feel like work. This is not something that I have to get up and think about and belabor and like, okay, this is the personality for the day. And I'm glad that I caught it as early as possible, because the longer that you kind of force that normal, then that is normal, and you lose a little bit of yourself. My sewing machine was truly my best friend at that time. That was all I had. We would go to Walmart, I would get whatever $5 fabric a yard I could get, and literally I would just be in the garage or my room for the whole weekends or like after school, music pumping and just sewing and cutting up and sketching. And that really made me feel like, okay, what about fashion? I really had no intention of even coming back home, because really the mindset growing up was, once you make it out of KC, don't come back. There's nothing here. It was a way different city of what I grew up in versus what it is now. I had thought like, oh, if I get into art school, I'm gonna get in Savannah. That was my dream school to go to. They had the most amazing fashion program ever. But around the time I graduated, that was the huge recession. And so that changes everything. And my parents are incredibly realistic with me. And it's like, listen, you go there, we can't help you. And not that they wouldn't be a great support system, but it was like, the best thing you can do is go ahead and go back home. They offering you, a little bit of scholarship money. And so that was that for me. I didn't go to a traditional fashion program. I went through a fibers program. So this is like weaving and sculpture and conceptual work and gallery art. And I'm like, I want to make clothes and I want to make stuff that, you know, I can wear with my sneakers and it's fun and it's cute. And I had a really hard time expressing what I wanted to create. My work felt half-cooked. You know, like when you're baking a cake and the outer edges, it's brown and it's looking good. You got the right crisp, the right texture, but you stick the fork in the middle, it's like, dang, it's still runny. That's what it felt like. Immediately, once we got there, everything makes sense. Being able to walk past the Bergdorf windows and seeing the 5-block long Macy's, the street style is out of this world. A light bulb clicked. Like, okay, I get what I'm supposed to be doing. Literally, you see art everywhere, any and everywhere, places where it's supposed to be, places where it's not supposed to be. I just really love the principles of street art, the idea that you are working with the space instead of against it. So whatever the shape of that wall is, the pole or whatever, they are working to transform it instead of forcing it to be something that it's not. It really inspires how I push my narrative through textile design because I'm able to put in so much story. The average person might look at it and say, oh, it's just a dress with a cute little print, but I might have been inspired by the stories of female World War II workers, Black female architects that just never got credit. And so once I got back home, I was like, I'm ready for senior year. I'm ready for the rest of my life. With where I was in life at that point, it wasn't realistic for me to be like, I'm gonna move to New York. I'm gonna move to LA. I'm gonna intern at Dior. I'm gonna, you know, do a semester abroad in Paris. Those were not options. So I just always looked for what little opportunity can I take. It might seem small, but if I can do my best at that little thing and keep flipping it and flip that other thing, it's gonna keep growing. Because I didn't have like a business education, I did my best to piece it together. So I did a program called Artist Inc. like right after I graduated. And that was like a good introduction of like, okay, this is what it means to be an artist in business. Also, YouTube was popping, right? And so like the beauty gurus on there were like huge around that time. And so I was kind of mimicking what they were doing. And I would see like, okay, they're creating an audience. And so I would literally just copycat that. I noticed it with one YouTuber I was following. She was starting her newsletter. And that was still kind of new to start doing around that time. My website was up and running. I can collect emails. So it felt like that's just what I can do for right now. I got a whole lot more time than I do money. What can I do with this time? When I first started blogging and developing newsletters, it wasn't that I had a lot of stuff to sell, but I knew like, okay, I still kind of need to keep myself at the forefront of everybody's minds. So let me come from a place where I'm talking about what I'm experiencing as I'm growing as an artist and as I'm building this business, like what's going on and you know what my hopes and my dreams are, and if I am gonna have an event or if I am gonna happen to be on the news. You have to make yourself so comfortable talking about your work. You cannot be scared of a camera. You cannot be scared of somebody interviewing you, because once other people believe in you and they're talking about your work from a genuine space, that's gonna make everybody else pay attention too. I think because I led with that foot and I didn't wait until, oh, everything is together and e-com is running perfectly and Etsy is running perfectly, because I didn't wait for perfection, I built way more connection. I think me being painfully realistic that I am my own PR department kind of helped me be like, no, you gotta stick with it. Even if you only do a monthly newsletter, it's still something. I look at my email inbox every morning. Some stores email you literally 10 times a day. They have no shame, but they want you to know like we are important and we're gonna stay prevalent and we are going to reach you no matter what. If they can do that, you can do a once a month, you can do a bi-monthly. You kind of have to take that personal feeling of, oh my God, I'm bothering people out of it. I mean, you'll have unsubscribers. I still get unsubscribers every time I send a newsletter and it's like, oh, I wonder why. But Think about those other like 50 people that are waiting to find out about you in your newsletter and ready to join, and they're actually active and engaging. I think that's more important than worrying about if I'm getting on somebody's nerves. It used to really feel like I am not in New York, I am not in LA, I'm not in Atlanta, I'm not in Chicago. Am I ever going to truly generate tangible revenue that's gonna make a difference in my life? The number one thing they say before you quit your job, have like 6 months of saving, and there was no way for me to save that kind of money with the jobs I was working. And so I just kind of thought something else was gonna have to happen for me to be able to actually quit and be completely technically full-time. I was prepared to travel for a show to Atlanta, and literally the day before we were supposed to fly out, they were like, we have to cancel because the cases in Georgia are out of control. And within 2 weeks, it was everything that I thought was gonna happen was not happening. And every job that I had was not happening. As an artist, I completely depended on in-person events, art fairs and pop-ups every other weekend. But I always put in the work into my online presence, my website, my online shop. You know, I did all the work, the SEO, the lead generations, you know, what I knew how to do. And so as soon as everything in person dried up, it was like a light switch hit and people knew to come to WhitneyManney.com. I watched some of my other colleagues and peers struggle and trying to figure out how can I quickly create an online shop. But I've been here and I've been presenting myself in this way. I've been showing up in this space. Y'all are just now catching on to what's happening over here. I'm prepared. The foundation was set. Even though I didn't see a return on that investment of time and money, I was still putting the work in because I knew someday, I didn't know how soon or when, someday it would pay off. Even though that perfect opportunity is not in front of you right then, you can't wait for the opportunity to land on your table to start preparing. You gotta start the setup before then. As artists, we are trained business does not belong in art. Your professional track is to either be a professor, an art teacher of some sort, or be a gallery artist. That's not realistic for everybody, and that's not realistic for every medium either. But it's changing because the internet has leveled the playing field, and I don't have to wait for a gallery to say, yes, you've been accepted into this show. If I want to make a virtual gallery, I can. If I want to produce my own show, I can. If I want to create a fashion film, I can. But if you never start, it's never gonna get going. You do have to start. And there is so much room for everybody. I think that's one of the biggest hangups too, is like artists will see like, oh, there's 20 other fashion designers in this city. I can't do it because there's enough people there. Well, nobody here is doing what I do. And so I'm going to start there. And because I'm still pushing myself within my local space grew into a global box. So this is now broadening my audience beyond the city of Kansas City, Missouri, and I'm seeing it result in sales, and people are signing up for my newsletter, and people are following me on my socials, and they're keeping up with me, and they're genuinely interested. And then still being able to be like, okay, my online shop is still here, and this is still a thing that is still generating income. Having such a diverse business model is really important to me since I'm on my own and building an independent label. And email is so important to me because it's something that I am able to build on my own. It's not something that is dependent upon an algorithm. I will never be shut out of my email list. And I'm able to build a closer relationship with my audience. And it doesn't have to be so hurry up and buy this thing. It can be something that I can really just kind of connect with people. And people respond to my newsletters too. They reply and they're like, oh, that is so cool, you know, or like, I was having a bad day, I was feeling this way or that way about something, but your insight really helped. As people check out through my store, they're able to opt in to my email newsletter. The pop-up comes on my website as soon as you get there. And it's nice because it's like, I'm not forcing people. They're making the choice to become a part of this community. And I want to be able to provide something that is of value, something that they feel like they're able to get to know me a little bit better. They'll be able to get to know WM a little bit better. And they get to be a part of this fun, crazy, wild world. It was like 4 days after my birthday, I get a text. Hi, my name is such and such. I'm the costume designer for Bel Air. Can you send us your portfolio? I'm like, at first I was thinking somebody was messing with me. Because I'm like, how did they get this number? How do they know who I am? I'm like, what is going on? So I Googled that person's name. Fernando Rodriguez, thank you so much. And I was like, okay, they're on IMDb, like as a credited costume designer. It's not a scam. And so very quickly, it's like, here's my portfolio. Here's what I have. Here's what it samples. Here's what I can make quickly. Here's what's available in the store right now. What do you want? I got you. I didn't care if they use a pair of pants as a dish rag. I'm on TV. It ended up being 2 pairs of my earrings, 2 scarves, and a top was used. Sending that box, and it says, from Whitney Manney, Fashion to Textiles to NBC Universal, attention, Bel Air costume department. And you like, that's crazy. It's so wild because I'm sitting here in Kansas City and that made it to Universal City and it's on an actress that does not know me. And it's people around this entire world that's sitting here watching this at the same time I am. And they might have thought to themselves, that's a cute pair of earrings. Like, I like that top. And thought nothing else of it, but just the thought that somebody said, about my work, that's crazy. I definitely feel like I am a Midwest designer. And I don't think that that's a bad thing. I have a Midwest flair. I think in the past, a lot of creatives have tried to run away from that. They've tried to outfit themselves like artists on the coast. And that's not who I am. I'm from the middle of America and I'm gonna lean into that. I don't think that it's a handicap. I think it's something that's empowering me. And I think it's something that's important because we can't all live in New York. We can't all live in LA, but we all deserve to be artists if we feel like that's what we want to do and it's important to us. Also, because I was born and raised here, I always just wanted to stand out. It's natural for me to be wearing like 20 different colors and 10 different patterns and somehow it all works out. I love when people tell me that. They're like, I was looking at your outfit and like, I see how all that works together. I get it. The longer I'm looking at it, I get it. And I'm like, thanks. I'm not thinking nothing of it. Why can't we redefine how we walk, talk, dress in the Midwest? What I'm doing right now, I can't say that I have seen it here just yet. And I think I'm that just yet. I didn't see this growing up. And I know that there's another 100,000 kids like me growing up here that's hoping that they can be a creative professional of some sort. So if I can be a place where the community sees like, this is happening, this is something that's attainable, you can do this. If I can hire people that live here in some sort of capacity, that's amazing. This city supported me so much. If I can be a part of these national opportunities that is shining the spotlight on Kansas City, I'm doing my part. I always say, I'm KC born, worldwide fly. And so whatever I do, I'm gonna make sure that somehow I'm able to invest that back into this space and that it's going to be able to help somebody else do what they want to do with their life too. Success for me is, I think, every time I get to key into this building and the lights come on and I see all the mannequins and the sewing machines and I literally get to sit here and the things that I think and dream about in my head go from my brain to something tangible. It's like, wow, I've made it and I'm gonna keep on making it.